Tonight, Nyrstar to make a $20 million payment towards its Port Pirie smelter loan under a proposed state government deal, and wild winds cause havoc around the region, whipping up massive blankets of dust around Broken Hill.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. Negotiations between Nyrstar and the state government could see the struggling company pay back $20 million towards its Port Pirie smelter loan. With the metal giant's recent economic woes, the government is working hard to ensure that Nyrstar repays its $291 million debt.
The South Australian government has spent the week at the negotiation table with Nyrstar's management. The hot ticket item being a solid commitment by the multinational corporation to pay back its $291 million loan.
The meetings are about dispelling the uncertainty that has been surrounding Port Pirie for a number of weeks now. Nyrstar have made a financial commitment to repay some of that money that was underwritten by the state government.
Treasurer Rob Lucas has said that he is pleased with the progress being made and is hopeful that next week's payment of $10 million by Nyrstar will be a sign of good faith.
That would be another indication of good intent by Nyrstar in terms of the Port Pirie operation and in the interest of the taxpayers of South Australia.
Nyrstar has struggled to meet payment deadlines from its 2014 deal struck with the previous Labor government. Its economical woes abroad, falling share prices and an 18-month delays in Port Pirie have all played a role in the repayment delays. With the repayment of $8 million in May and a further 10 next week, the government is hoping to get the payments up to the agreed-upon price of $20 million and avoid being short-changed in the future.
But the reality is, it is what it is. The new government has inherited it. It wasn't our deal that we've written, but we have to do the best we can with it.
Nyrstar's CEO also held private meetings with the workers and union representatives this afternoon at the Port Pirie site. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
A man is facing a string of charges following an attempted carjacking in Broken Hill. The 20-year-old allegedly tried to break into a number of parked cars before trying to pull drivers out of their own vehicles. Patrick Reinke has the details.
At around 3:30 yesterday afternoon, the 20-year-old man allegedly threatened a member of the public here on Boardman Street whilst armed with a metal object. Shortly after the altercation, the man attempted to break into a number of cars along the street before nearby roofers confronted him. Police allege the man then headed towards South Street, where he attempted to open the doors of cars slowing down to give way at an intersection. The man has allegedly assaulted one driver after opening their door before being restrained by bystanders until police arrived.
I'm not exactly sure who actually stopped him in the street, but you know, anyone that saw anything, those roofers, if they saw him or saw anything happening and they witnessed to it, we'd love them to come here and give us a statement just to help us.
The man appeared in Broken Hill Court today facing a number of charges including assault, carjacking and possessing illegal drugs. He was sent to Broken Hill Hospital for a mental health assessment.
Broken Hill has been hit with a second dust storm in as many hours. Skies turned dark as a fast and furious dust storm hit parts of regional New South Wales just after lunchtime today and yesterday afternoon. Wind gusts over 70 kilometres an hour blanketed the city in a brown haze. The localised storms were just a taste of things to come, with more wild weather on the cards. Environment experts say an invasion of kangaroos in northern parts of the state has led to an increased amount of permits to cull the animals. A year of dry conditions has meant roos are now searching through farming pastoral areas for food and water.
They're our national emblem, but they're running rampant in regional South Australia. Although the population numbers in the state have decreased by 600,000 from 2017, we've seen localised movements of kangaroos
to perhaps some of the southern pastoral areas and agricultural areas where there are more food and water resources available.
Increased kangaroo activity has proved problematic for many farmers with crops and livestock.
Landowners can experience economic loss and high numbers can cause environmental damage.
The invasion has prompted a swift action from farmers, with permits to destroy the roos on a non-commercial basis increasing from 2017.
This year so far, it's pretty much about doubled.
But Livestock SA say the silver bullet could be the commercial harvesting of kangaroos for their meat and leather. They want to see better interaction between the government and the livestock industry to find a solution.
it can be a premium product that can deliver some good income into the South Australian economy.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Today marks National Agriculture Day, with Minister Tim Whetstone paying a visit to local farmers in the Mid-North. The day is all about celebrating the contributions farmers make to society and raising awareness of the hardships they've had to face in recent months.
A day to celebrate our farmers. National Agriculture Day symbolises the tireless work done by individuals in the farming and horticulture sector, with Minister Tim Whetstone visiting Port Pirie to acknowledge their contributions.
It's a great way to showcase what primary industries mean to the Australian way of life, what it really means here at Port Pirie.
2018 has been a challenging year for our farmers. Drought has devastated pockets of the Mid-North and other regions across the state. Mr Whetstone utilised the significance of National Ag Day to announce further measures to help farmers in need, including additional counsellors for the FAB Mentor Scout program.
My initiative is to get out there, listen to what's currently happening on ground, but also to spread the information.
In an effort to boost positivity and farming morale, the state government has announced the rollout of a new initiative, the South Australian Ag Town of the Year.
To acknowledge the importance that agriculture, primary industries play to South Australia's bottom line. $22.5 billion is generated through primary industries.
The Ag Town of the Year, in partnership with Brand South Australia, will be announced in 2019, coinciding with the regional showcasing program, which recently saw the local town of Brinkworth take home gold. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
A training hub has been established in Broken Hill to encourage more medical staff to work in the outback. The initiative aims to help all types of medical career stages, from interested high school students to graduated doctors.
Far West, New South Wales, it's a space to grow.
The Far West Regional Training Hub is a new initiative from the Commonwealth Government to look at building sustainable medical workforces in rural and remote areas of Australia.
Broken Hill, as well as many other outback communities, struggle with low doctor and medical staff numbers. Miss Rodwell says Broken Hill and the Far West has plenty to offer, and according to previous students on placement, might actually be a better place to learn than capital cities.
They tell us that Broken Hill Emergency Department is where they've had a lot of their firsts. So the first time they put in particular catheters and did particular procedures, or the first time they saw a particular type of patient. So it's the opposite to what you would think, actually.
The hub plans to encourage more graduates to come and do training in the Far West, as well as guide high school students interested in a career in medicine. It's all about achieving a strong workforce in regional communities.
We call it a pipeline from high school right through to medical students, JMOs, through to having people actually working here as doctors in the Far West.
Patrick Royenke, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, why Port Augusta students are getting hands-on lessons in computer coding. Hello again. Whyalla Steelworks is producing an extra 90,000 tonnes per year, according to GFG. It's released its second community newsletter, which is also teasing a major announcement in coming weeks. John Hunt has more.
Newport is a long way from Whyalla, but the Welsh city is playing a role in the rejuvenation of the Whyalla Steelworks. Local steel production is up, with the majority of it being shipped to GFG's flagship British Steel plant. An extra 90,000 tonnes of steel has been produced this year. It's exported as steel slabs to the Welsh facility and is developed into industrial products. The amount is equivalent to 50,000 Holden Commodores. The news has been revealed in a newsletter which is being mailed this week to Whyalla residents, updating them on the transformation of the ageing plant. GFG has also revealed it's testing a new type of steel product, which if successful could be exported to the United States, and they're also set to give us an insight into the future. They've confirmed a major reveal will take place in the coming weeks, which will give Whyalla a glimpse into what the upgrade of the steelworks will look like. So it's a case of watch this space as we head into the Christmas period, with hopes locals will finally get to see for themselves what Mr. Gupta has in store.
Whyala's new council has been officially sworn in at a ceremony last night. Elected members, their families and residents were on hand to see them take up their new roles. New Mayor Claire McLaughlin was sworn in first, followed by councillors who were invited to take their seats in the chamber. It's a changing of the guard with 7 of the 10 voted into office for the first time. In her first speech, Mayor McLaughlin called her fellow councillors to develop a strong working relationship and lead the city into a new era.
I am honoured to be chosen to lead the Whyalla City Council. As a united team, we will look to build on the great work.
The new council will have to hit the ground running with the first meeting scheduled for Monday night. Meantime, Whyalla Council is preparing the city to host a population of up to 80,000. It's released details of a transformation document which is focused on revolutionising local infrastructure.
In the 1960s, Whyalla was a town designed for a population of 100,000. It never got close, reaching a peak of 33,000 people in the 1970s, before going into long-term decline off the back of the closure of the shipyards. However, Council is preparing Whyalla to grow up to 4 times its current size.
80,000 is realistic with the information that we have and the modelling that we've done and the potential investment.
Council has launched a transformation framework focusing on upgrading the city's infrastructure. They've secured accounting giant PricewaterhouseCoopers as consultants. The blueprint will look at how sporting, industrial and community facilities can be redeveloped at the same time.
You cannot do this in separation. And the history is a bit of a scattergun approach to how we make decisions.
Council will now seek public input on what the priorities should be ahead of release in July next year. Ms Roberts says the city has to be prepared to think differently.
And our perception internally and externally, we'll do a lot of work in changing that perception.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill's younger generation now have the chance to learn about the nation's capital in a creative way. The Brick by Brick program has been launched in the Silver City, giving kids a chance to learn about Canberra whilst playing with Lego. The National Touring Exhibition allows kids to recreate iconic buildings in the area and maybe design some for the future.
Not everyone can make it out to Canberra, and that's why we've come to Broken Hill. And we use Lego because it's a fun activity. Everyone has fond memories of building with Lego, and it enables kids to think creatively about what they should create for their capital and also to recreate some of the national institutions that we do already have.
The exhibition runs till February. Students from across Port Augusta have been given a taste of modern technology, receiving a hands-on lesson in computer coding. Organisers say a large majority of jobs in the future will require these skills.
From traffic lights to washing machines and all our mobile phones, they all require computer coding, a series of letters and numbers to instruct computers to perform tasks, with 200 students getting a simplified lesson of the coding algorithms.
The Code Club is a national charity that provides free resources and training for teachers and volunteers to teach coding to kids aged 8 through 15.
The skills are part of the digital technologies curriculum, and today kids got their fingers on the wires to learn the basic science with everyday household items.
We had to put these little plugs into the potato and the apple. And then when you touch it, it makes a sound.
So it's a super easy way, a really accessible way for the kids to bring coding into their everyday life.
These machines have been donated to local schools so students can take their skills back to the classrooms. And with 75% of jobs in the next 10 years requiring some knowledge of computer coding, education is more important than ever.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that all these kids are going to become coders or developers, but they have to be able to understand how it works.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll have the region's fuel prices, and after some wild, wet and windy weather today, we'll see the odd shower over the coming days. I'll have all the local weather details soon. Welcome back. Time now for Fuel Watch. Here's Pat.
Petrol prices are on their way down this week. There's never been a better time to fill up. Starting with unleaded, and everyone is green except Adelaide. Port Lincoln has dropped by 3 cents, Whyalla by 4 to sit at 1.49. Port Augusta is still having to fork out for fuel though, the average barely changing from last week. Conversely, Port Pirie is a whole lot cheaper. Another 2 cent decline has the coastal town at 1.47. Kadina is by far the best performer this week though. A whopping 6 cent drop in the average now has it as the cheapest place in the Gulf to buy unleaded. Broken Hill has seen a little bit of movement this week, but we are still in the 160s. The cycle has started again in Adelaide, the price jumping 31 cents to notch 1.58. To diesel now, and Port Lincoln and Port Pirie are both holding on 1.57 after seeing some good decreases. Whyalla is breaking even while Port Augusta has gone down by 3. Broken Hill saw a 2 cent drop this week. Kadina went down by 1. Adelaide is the only one to see red, back up to 1.59. And there's a new addition in Fuel Watch this week. We welcome Autogas or LPG into the fold. A quick look at the figures there show many townships in the 180s, low 90s price range. Whyalla is the outlier, averaging 97 cents. Cheapest price is a two-way tie, Port Augusta and Kadina both averaging 89. And of course remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
Thanks, Pat. Now let's check out what's happening in the weather. Well, there was some wild weather around the Gulf today. Windy and wet conditions for all centres. Broken Hill saw some massive dust storms, Whyalla reaching a top of 21 degrees. On the satellite, cloud cover streaming across northern and eastern SA is generating rain and thunderstorms, some intense. Some low cloud forming in the west and south in colder southerly winds is bringing a few showers. On the waters for your Thursday, strong southwesterly winds up to 35 knots, seas at 2 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, and sunrise will be at 6:04 tomorrow morning. Windy and wet conditions for Coffin Bay, Port Pirie and Clare tomorrow. The odd shower forecast for all other centres. That's except for Port Augusta, Woodna and Broken Hill, who will see mostly fine conditions with temps in the low 20s. The odd shower hanging around over the coming days. Fine for Friday though, Port Lincoln 21 the top. Again, some more showers forecast for Saturday and cloud cover creeping in for Sunday. Port Lincoln and Cleve 21 the max, Woodna 25 the top. Again, mostly fine on Friday, warming back up into the 30s for Port Augusta on Saturday. The odd shower forecast for all centres, Whyalla cloudy and 22 by Sunday. A similar story here, conditions should calm down to end the week. Scattered showers forecast on Saturday and a cloudy day forecast for Port Pirie and Clare on Sunday. Mostly fine in Broken Hill though, 27 the top. And that's all the local news this Wednesday. I'm Abby Donaldson. Thanks for your company. Good night.